Hello, good afternoon everybody, and welcome along to a special match live, and we're from White Hart Lane for the final ever competitive match to take place on this grand old ground. There's the FIFA 16 background showing the famous old stadium which was built back in 1899, but for the final time today it takes centre stage for a competitive match for the last time. Spurs are obviously moving to a new stadium in 2 years' time. Next season at least they'll be playing at Wembley Stadium. It's a marvellous occasion. Flags have been flying. Obviously supporters have been taking photographs and having a look at the place for the final time. It's marvellous occasion, and well, can't quite believe that it's not going to be there no more. The bulldozers coming this time tomorrow. There's the famous cockerel there on top of the west stand. It's the cockerel, there it is. Spurs against United then at the lane. We'll give you the two lineups in just a second, but it's a marvellous occasion. The sun is out here at White Hart Lane. The Spurs fans in buoyant mood. United have made several changes because it looks a distinct possibility that the top four may be beyond them this season, but what it does do now really is give them a better chance of resting a few players for the Europa League final, which takes place in just over 10 days' time from now in Stockholm. Both teams in traditional colours. United are going to kick us off here today, and they're going to attack the goal to our right, and away we go then. United in the red, Spurs in those white shirts, as United attack through the middle in the first half. So we'll try and bring you the two lineups if we can, but it's a marvellous occasion. Here's Son on the left hand side for Spurs. He's playing on the near side. Spurs of course attacking the goal to our left, and what a momentous occasion it's going to be at White Hart Lane. A special match live for you this afternoon, and a marvellous occasion. Tottenham Hotspur win today. They're guaranteed second place, and they haven't achieved that position in the league since 1963. Since they won the double in 61, they've been widely regarded as an entertaining cup side rather than a league championship winning squad. But Pochettino, since he's come in there, has built on the foundations started a few years ago, of course, by Harry Redknapp, and picked the club off the floor when he took charge. But Pochettino came in from Southampton, has really done magnificently well, and has fashioned a really good side here at Tottenham. As Son makes another break down this near side. United appealing for offside. Son turns now, faced by a couple of United defenders, and Ben Davies with a teasing cross. It's been kept in by Manchester United, and it's going to be a Tottenham throw, almost level with the United penalty area. We've played about 90 seconds of the first half. We will bring you the two lineups as soon as we get a couple of seconds to bring it to you live. And the goalkeeper there took a risk there. So let's try and bring you the two teams, shall we? Tottenham versus Manchester United, of course, here at the lane. And let's bring you that Spurs team, shall we? With Lloris in goal, Kieran Trippier, the ex-Burnley lad, in there as well, number 16. So, as I say, Lloris in goal, then it's Trippier, Alderweireld, Vertonghen, Davis, Dyer, Victor Wanyama, Christian Eriksen, Dele Alli, Son, Young Min and Harry Kane. On the bench for Spurs, Walker, Janssen, Vorm, Nakodo, Sissoko, Dembele and Rimmer. For Manchester United, De Gea in goal, Bally, Jones, Smalling and Chizambi, number 38. Carrick, Rooney, Blind, Mata and Lingard, with Martial further forward. On the bench for United is Rashford, Romero the goalkeeper, Herrera, Mkhitaryan, Mitchell, Damian and McTonley. And the referee for this game today is Jonathan Moss from Yorkshire. That brings you up to date on the two lineups, and any Spurs or Manchester United fans tuning in this afternoon will be welcome to have you on board, and you're welcome to comment on this momentous day, of course, for both, more so for Spurs than for Manchester United, but it's a nice way for the White Hart Lane to bow out with such illustrious opponents such as Manchester United. Long ball forward up towards Dele Alli, turns inside the penalty area. United getting sufficient numbers back inside their own area, and then David De Gea kicking clear. He's been the subject of a move away from Old Trafford. Real Madrid are taking great notice in him. This is Vertonghen now for Spurs. Difficult to try again. It's a bit like what we were doing when we were covering Burnley yesterday. It's really difficult to try and distinct the two teams because of the sunshine. Here's Dyer now for Tottenham. They've had a remarkable season. They might not win anything really this year. In fact, they won't, because obviously they were beaten in that semi-final a few weeks ago by Chelsea, beaten 4-2, and really was a great semi-final. And the flag has been, well, it was Ben Davies making the initial break, but the flag did not stay down, so a free kick it is to Manchester United. 1899, the first ever game takes place. We've had something like 2,000 or so matches played on this ground, and so many memories for Spurs fans. The likes of Greaves, Mullery, Pat Jennings from the 60s and 70s. Cliff Jones, of course, as well. Spurs have won a corner. Dele Alli winning that corner down on the near touchline. 5 minutes of the match gone here at White Hart Lane. The result, as far as anyone is concerned in the stadium will know, is going to probably be irrelevant. It's all about the stadium, and the colour and vigour and the noise is almost unpalpable as Ericsson takes a short corner. Ben Davies knocks it in from the far side, and it's in! On the far side by Victor Wanyama, and the perfect start for Tottenham. Just 5.5 minutes on the clock, and Spurs get the lead their dominance deserves. And White Hart Lane has erupted as one, apart from a small pocket of Manchester United fans, but it was a lovely corner kick routine. Ericsson with the corner, United a little bit slow to react. Ben Davies with a perfect crossing from the left hand side, and Victor Wanyama getting above anybody else at the far post to nod in there. In fact, he was virtually unchallenged, but it was a lovely pinpoint cross from Ben Davies. David De Gea didn't have a chance. As soon as it left Wanyama's head, it was in the near corner, and White Hart Lane jumped up as one. Tottenham 1, Manchester United 0. A terrific start for Spurs. And here come Manchester United at the other end through Martial, but Wanyama getting back there. Well, it's a nice way to start. It's an absolutely lovely way to start off the final match at White Hart Lane with a goal like that. It was a really good Spurs move from the corner. It really was a good corner routine. The United try to an instant reply if they can. So it's Tottenham 1, United 0. Here's Blind from the far side. Oh, and the header was miscued by one. In fact, the flag has gone up for offside. 7 minutes gone. And, well, Batman Boss is not one of the Spurs fans, but Russ Vernon is a Spurs fan. Come on, you Spurs. So it's nice to have a couple of people on there as well. But it's all about White Hart Lane. It's a momentous occasion. And let's make sure that the comments are clean and there's no over-the-top banter. Spurs have had a terrific season. They're going to finish second. They're in the Champions League. But they're shouting they're going to Wembley next season. Which is going to be terrific. There's the referee John Moss from Yorkshire. One of the best I think we could have had a far better referee for a game of this magnitude, but I don't think it's time to moan and groan. Russ Burnley says I'm a Leeds United fan, but actually I hate Manchester United. So he's a Leeds United supporter. And Leeds, of course, very unlucky actually to miss out on the Championship playoffs. I'm sure with Gary Monk at the helm and he gets a few shrewd signings in, they'll be contenders again for promotion next season. There's going to be a whole clutch of clubs queuing up for promotion there as Spurs go charging forward down the right hand side. Cross coming in from Trippier. And of course, here's a chance now for Wanyama. Ball back to Dyer. Of course, Batman is a Clarets fan. How can I not forget that? But he hates Tottenham. Well, you've got to say Tottenham do play some scintillating football. I'm a Claret, staunch Claret, and I thought Spurs were the best team, best away side to come to Turf Moor this season, and they really put in a really thoroughly professional display to win 2-0 at the Turf. They are really a good team, and I do enjoy watching them. As a neutral, they're a great team to watch, and they're just passing the ball around well. They're one goal clear. United really haven't got it out of first gear yet. I don't think they've really got off the coach, really. It's Ben Davies who will have an assist, really, on that opening goal. Wanyama, the scorer, sprays it out towards the far side where Trippier is lurking. Trippier is coming to the side, really, and has done really well because Kyle Walker obviously has been the subject of a move possibly to Manchester City in the summer. And he's kicked up a little bit of a stink about that. He wants, according to newspaper reports, he's angling for a move to Manchester City, but I don't understand why you would want that, because you know it's great to be a Spurs player at the moment. It has to be said. They play some of the more attractive football in the division. And if you took Chelsea out of the equation, I think you would safely say they are champions. 10 minutes gone in the first half here at White Hart Lane. The final match at this famous old venue. So many great memories. Hoddle, Ardelas, Villa, the 81 team that beat Manchester City in that famous FA Cup final replay at Wembley. And then Hoddle and Lineker and Gascoigne, David Ginola, Gareth Bale, all these great players, and if you're going back to the 60s, the great Jimmy Greaves as well. And well, it's a sad day really, but they have to move with the times here at Spurs. And this new ground will, when it's finished, will look, I'm sure, very impressive. Although they'll have to wait at least a year before that will be the case. Here come Manchester United trying to get an equaliser, crossing from the right hand side and then headed away with very assurity there by Alderweireld, and it will be a corner for Manchester United. 11 minutes gone. There's the ball in from Barry, and it was knocked away for a corner. So can Manchester United get themselves back level from the corner? Far side to be taken on the far side here. And there it comes from the corner. Header one in the side of penalty area by Wayne Rooney. Heads it over the crossbar. Didn't have the direction. Headed it about 8 yards from goal, dead central. And it wasn't connected with any great conviction. And it's easily cleared Hugo Lloris's crossbar. And Manchester United have, Spurs have a goal kick. 12 minutes of the match gone. Batman back on again, saying Blackburn versus Rochdale next season. As a shot comes in from Eriksson. They'll break for Ben Davies on the left-hand side, and then United doing some very good defending again. With Small in there, former Fulham man. This, of course, we got the cup final. Of course, we'll have a Clarets match delayed, of course, next Monday, because I'm actually working on the day that Burnley play West Ham, but we will have commentary of that for you in a delayed stream on Monday afternoon, late Monday afternoon. And then it's all about the cup final then. Less than 2 weeks away between Chelsea and Arsenal, and we'll have that for you live from Wembley. And we'll be there live for you. We'll give you the build-up. We'll be on there about half an hour before the game kicks off. We'll give you all the build-up, the Abide With Me hymn, and the teams coming out, the national anthems, the whole shebang, what it is to be on Cup Final Day. So we'll be on there half an hour before kick-off and bring you the half an hour's build-up to the game, as I say, including all the Cup Final traditions, Abide With Me and everything else. Kick-off, don't forget, is at 5:30. Although I'm a traditionalist and I think the Cup Final should be at 3 o'clock. Well, it's been a good 13 minutes or so for Tottenham. Kieran Trippier, as I say, is coming to the side and has done really well. I certainly thought in the European games, although Spurs didn't do particularly great in the when they were at Wembley, I thought Trippier had some really good times, certainly playing the European games. I think he really enjoyed that experience and he really has been superb. Tottenham 1, Manchester United 0 is the current score at the moment. And the game just starting to settle down a little bit as we go into the 15th minute of the game. 14 and a half minutes gone. This is Vertonghen, 10 yards inside his own half. Goes over the halfway line just to the left of the centre circle and then runs in field. And then was there a foul there? No. Eriksen was there too, but a good little run there through the middle there from Jan Vertonghen, just striding over the halfway line and really doing terrifically well. Here come Manchester United on the break, and this is Jesse Lingard, right left hand side, trying to play the ball in there towards Martial, but he can't find him. And now here comes Tottenham again with Dele Alli, midway inside his own half though. Dele Alli then trots towards the centre circle. Ali plays the ball over the halfway line, looking for Harry Kane. Harry'd love to sign off with a goal here this afternoon, and it would be fitting if Harry Kane could get a goal. Kane now hand the ball deep towards the edge of the area. Eriksen trying to dink it through towards Dele Alli, but he couldn't get it through, and it was cleared on the edge of the D by Manchester United, who have it now on the left hand side with Rooney. Rooney back to Blind getting it away. United have a decent record here at White Hart Lane. A few years ago they actually trailed 3-0 at half time to Tottenham. This was back, I think, in September 2001. They trailed 3-0 at the break and then they came back to win 5-3. Glenn Hoddle was the manager in those days, and Glenn Hoddle is actually there today. And he is a real cult hero at Tottenham. Scored some real famous goals at White Hart Lane, delighted the fans there for many, many years before he moved on to Monaco. Actually scored on his final appearance against Oxford United in 1987 when he got 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper when everybody else was in the Spurs half, and Hoddle broke away. He was on his own half as the ball was played, and he ran 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper Alan Judge and went round him, and it was a nice way for him to sign off his White Hart Lane career. He just couldn't win the FA Cup that year against Coventry, who ran out 3-2 winners, but what a way to sign off his White Hart Lane career with a goal like that. And it was a nice way to say goodbye to the home fans in that sort of way. Made his debut actually as a 16-year-old in 1976. Glenn Hoddle scored the winner on his debut, in fact, against Stoke City. There's a little bit of Spurs history there for you, and I think we might have a few of those when we get breaks in play. But here's a chance now for Manchester United. Shot coming in just wide from Anthony Martial, left of the penalty, just to the left of the 6-yard box, cut inside from the left. Lovely ball forward by Wayne Rooney. Martial just getting the better of the defender this time, and there was the right-footed shot just wide of Lloris's far post there, and a little warning sign there for Spurs. They may have dominated the first sort of 17 and a half minutes, but Manchester United still have certainly abundance of quality to really test that Tottenham defence, and they certainly weren't any slouches there, United. As Bailly now gets the ball on the right hand side, for Manchester United. Now Carrick It feels like he's been playing there for years. Doesn't age as a footballer, Michael Carrick, does he? He's had a good run in that Manchester United set-up. It was pivotal when Alex Ferguson bought him. He's a real workhorse. Doesn't get all the headlines that he probably deserves. Michael Carrick, he's certainly been Mr. Consistency for so many years at Old Trafford. Former West Ham United man, of course. But a real workhorse, Carrick. He works really hard, but he's coming towards the twilight zone of his career. But this Spurs side is a very good young side, and if they can keep it together and add just a couple more players the next 2 or 3 years, God knows what they could achieve as a team. It's astronomical to think. Here's Son taking it now inside the centre circle. Son now trying to get Spurs on his way, and Son plays a good 1-2. He's in the area, and Son shoots straight at the goalkeeper De Gea, and he might still come for Spurs. Shot coming in, right footer from Eriksen that just goes wide off the target. But Son here showing real form, gets a bit lucky. In fact, he came off a United defender into his path, but still Son maybe should have scored, and then the rebound came back to Eriksen to the right of the D. He had the shot from about 20 yards, and he shot wide with the right foot and off target for a Manchester United goal kicker. A bit of a let off there for United. Spurs a goal ahead. I go after 5.5 minutes from Son, from Victor Wanyama. And obviously Jose Mourinho looking on nonchalantly. He's had a mixed bag of record. Once famously lost 5-3 here. I think the last time he went to Hart as a manager, he lost 5-3. I think it was on New Year's Day 2015. What was a remarkable game of football. And Tottenham really came of age that afternoon. Chelsea team were flying high in the league, and they were absolutely taken to a cleaners by a Spurs side that were just too good for them on the day. They really were, and they're too good for this United side here on this day as well. Here's Dele Alli. What a signing he has been since coming to Spurs. £5 million it cost Spurs to sign him from MK Dons. In today's prices, that is a real bargain. And I think, tell you what, that's probably the bargain of the century, without a shadow of a doubt. He has been a colossus since coming to White Hart Lane. We knew he was a good player when he burst onto the scene at the MK Dons. We didn't know how good he really was going to be. As Kane now breaks down the right hand side. Kane trying to lay the ball back. There was two waiting in the centre. And in the end, it's been bundled behind for a corner. We've had 21 minutes gone here at White Hart Lane. A sensational game of football taking place here. We've had a goal. It came after 5.5 minutes, and it came from the head of Victor Wanyama, virtually coming in unmarked at the far post. And now, can Spurs get that second goal, which would really give themselves clear daylight between themselves and Manchester United? But Tongan is up. Kane is inside the box, so to his Son. Corner comes in from the far side, but it's headed away now. Now back to Trippier, back to Eriksen once again. Eriksen sends that into the 6-yard box, and Harry Kane got up before the goalkeeper, and I think he just headed it over the bar inside the 6-yard area. A lovely crossing from the right again from Christian Eriksen. Really good ball. The corner wasn't the best. United dealt with that one okay. Then Trippier had the presence of mind to see that Eriksen had all the time. Right-footed cross. Kane got there, and all he had to do was keep the header down, and that was 2-0. De Gea came, didn't get there. That was poor goalkeeping really from David De Gea, and should have really been punished. Goal kick to United. Very lucky not to be 2 goals down. But Spurs playing some real champagne football. But can United now get themselves back into this game? They're attacking now with Wayne Rooney, but he's lost possession. And United now have it with Barry. And again, good covering again. Jesse Lingard giving away rather carelessly, but he'll get the ball back. He's very lucky in that aspect. Now the ball back to David De Gea, who kicks right-footed over the halfway line. Flick on towards Rooney. And here's Victor Wanyama. Wanyama now trotting over the halfway line. Still Wanyama. Can't get it out from the left-hand side, and it's going to go out for a Tottenham goal kick conceded by Ben Davies, and we're halfway now through the first half. Batman has been on, and he asked, do you think Scotty, I think he's referring to Burnley midfielder Scott Arfield here, do you think Scotty will be leaving in the summer? Well, after the display he really showed yesterday, I'd be really disappointed if he'd stayed. I think he had 3 good years before this season, and I think those were the 3 best years. I don't think he's been good enough really this season. I do think they need to move 2 or 3 of the old guard on Burnley, because they'll be looking at better quality now that they're mathematically safe. Just to remind you about what happened earlier on today, there were 2 Premier League games taking place. The one at Selhurst Park, not too far down the road. Both games were all 3 Premier League matches, in fact, are taking place in the capital this week. And as the long ball comes forward, we'll just break off for a second and then bring you up to date what's been happening elsewhere earlier today. As we come up towards the 25th minute, and Spurs again on the attack, far side, long cross towards the back post, De Gea in trouble, and it's been hooked away. But David De Gea, he's in all sorts of a tangle there, and he got away with it again. I couldn't really see whether he was really in desperate trouble there. He's not had the best first half by a long shot, the United keeper. This was what happened. Teasing crossing from the right, De Gea backpedaling, got there, Dele Alli couldn't control it, and in the end Eric Bailly had to get it out again. There's the cross. I don't think it was intended as a shot, was on target in actual fact. But there we are. United have survived. Now then, let's bring you up to date what happened earlier on. There was a big relegation clash at Selhurst Park between Crystal Palace and Hull City, and Hull could not afford to lose that game, because if they lost that game they'd be down, and that's how it happens. Palace ran riot, scored 4 goals. Hull really went down with a real whimper, so Hull join Sunderland and Middlesbrough in the Championship next season, which means Burnley are mathematically safe, Crystal Palace are mathematically safe, Watford are mathematically safe, and more crucially so, Swansea City, who won yesterday at Sunderland, are now mathematically safe, and all of these teams can take it easy. As we just see Big Pat Jennings there, a legend at both North London clubs. Of course, he spent a few years, of course, later in his career at Arsenal, where he won a couple of Cup Winners' medals with the Gunners. As Martial tries to break deep inside Spurs territory, but he's been hounded out again. So Crystal Palace winning that big game at the bottom 4-0, which now settles the relegation scrap. So it's Hull City, Middlesbrough and Sunderland all going down to the Championship. And 2 of the 3 promoted teams have not lasted 1 year, but Burnley are certainly going to last more than 1 year this time round. 40 points, highest possible points tally. There's a Manchester United player gone down, and Ashley Mottram, we all know, is a big United fan. He says, this is horrible. Mourinho has thrown all the eggs in the Europa League basket. Risky business, he says. However, that's off to Spurs, top quality team, and I don't think you can argue with that comment. But I think realistically, actually, the Europa League, if you do win that competition, although that's not guaranteed, the way Ajax have been playing in that competition and the way they destroyed Lyon in the semi-finals of that one, it's not guaranteed. But if you win that trophy, you are guaranteed a place in the Champions League next season. This is a great incentive for the Europa League to be taking that role a bit more seriously, because it has had a bit of a bad reputation in recent seasons of it not being taken as seriously. I think that's why clubs like Seville have won it 3 times on the spin, because they take it seriously, whereas other more established European outfits don't take it as seriously as what they should do, and I think that's a disrespect. It's a great competition, and I think there's far too many teams taking part in it. Maybe if they streamlined it a bit and made it with less lesser teams in it, play one less round, I think it could be a very good European competition. Meanwhile, United have conceded a free kick. Wayne Rooney has conceded that free kick, and now Spurs, who have worked the set plays really well today. Eriksen has been at the hub of all things good from Tottenham so far. He's going to take the free kick just to the right of the day, about 25 yards out from goal on the far side. Will he float one in or will he shoot? There are two in the Manchester United wall. Referee John Moss making sure that everything's all set up properly, that the wall's 10 yards back. Eriksen with the right foot does float it into the penalty area, but United get a head on it and get it out towards halfway, and then the ball is just back to Hugo Lloris, apart from that one moment where Martial almost sort of brushed his right hand post. There's not really been much else for him to worry about. Goal kick to Manchester United, an attempted long ball towards Dele Alli, just was overhit from the right hand side, but he has been a colossus since going to Tottenham. Mauricio Pochettino, terrific how he's come back. And Elias Lebeck, come on Spurs, I take it he's a Spurs fan, and anybody who's commented and would like to subscribe to this channel, feel very welcome to do so. We need the subscribers. We've had a couple over the weekend since, so you're very welcome to come on and watch all the content and listen to all the commentaries, the FIFA videos, everything that we do on this channel. We're planning one or two things to the summer, of course. There's no tournament football. There will be in 12 months' time. We'll have the World Cup. Here comes Spurs on the break. Shot coming in, and a terrific save from Dele Alli, who shot from the right-hand side of the penalty area. And that was the best we saw. David De Gea had to climb up to get it away with his hand, and he did superbly well. Good effort. And we're just watching a slow-mo in the goal, inside the goal. It's amazing how these TV companies manage to get every conceivable angle covered for these football games that they televise. Half an hour gone here at White Hart Lane. Eriksen with a corner, far side, headed out for another Tottenham corner by Phil Jones. And also earlier today, West Ham beaten and humiliated by Liverpool 4-0, and they're all but mathematically in the Champions League next season. All they've got to do is not lose to Middlesbrough, and they're there. Eriksen with his Tottenham corner. 31 minutes almost elapsed. Eriksen right-footed in towards the near post. Again, Manchester United getting the headers out. I will come to Ashley's comments in a moment about Burnley as soon as we get a break in play. But it's Tottenham still attacking. They get a throw on the level with the edge of the United penalty area. And now for Tongan to find Ben Davies. Ben Davies, who will certainly have an assist on the goal. Now Dele Alli, left hand side, taking on Bally, cuts inside, finds Son into Eriksen, back to Son again, left hand side, back in field again to Eriksen. Eriksen really doing terrifically well so far in this first half. A good team performance this from Tottenham. They do play as a team. And the ball back to Hugo Lloris, who can hook that away, and that shows great confidence, really, Spurs. Now I'll get over to Ashley's comments as Spurs try to get an attack going with Eric Dyer. He also says, congratulations to your team, Burnley, a good community football club with passionate fans. He loves Turf Moor, he says. The atmosphere is buzzing and electric. Well, thank you very much, Ashley. It's marvellous to get good comments like that, and well, it's going to be more money in the coffers now. There's been talk of Sean Dyche. I've heard Sean Dyche say now that he wants to spend a bit more bigger than he did this season and get more quality in. I think one or two of the older guards need to go and make way for some new blood. Maybe we'll have a really good, exciting team there that could maybe stay up a second year, maybe jump up to the mid-table level. And Burnley, if they get the right players in and fit in with Sean Dyche's teamwork and ethos, they're certainly capable of doing that. Even though, despite the fact that they are a very small community club, but it's good to see a team like Burnley in the Premier League, and it sort of bucks the trend that You don't have to be super rich. You don't have to be bankrolled by foreign owners to enjoy a bit of success in football. It's all sometimes down to hard work and good tactics and disciplined football as well, and that's what Burnley have been, especially at Turf Moor. They don't make it easy for teams travelling to the ground because it's a proper old-fashioned stadium, a bit like White Hart Lane is now, although that'll be all gone by this time tomorrow because the bulldozers will be knocking down this famous old ground. It's been Spurs home, as you can see, since 1899. A real 118 years of football at White Hart Lane. David Ginola in the crowd. Teddy Sheringham, I think, he's sat next to him as well. A few terrific names of the past. Teddy Sheringham there too, on his left as well, on Ginola's left. A real proper Spurs legends. Of course, Teddy Sheringham played for Manchester United with terrific distinction as a Manchester United player. Down on the far side, it's Daley Blind, the Dutchman. Of course, we've no major tournament football this summer to bring you, but in a year's time we'll be bringing you for the first time on this YouTube channel, we'll be bringing you the World Cup from Russia 2018. Will England be there? Will one or two of the other home nations be there? Well, we'll find out in October, November time when all the qualifications, certainly in the European stage of the qualifiers, will be sorted out. But we'll be featuring for the first time surely the likes of Brazil and Argentina, the South American teams who really do bring these tournaments to life, and we'll look to try and cover 20 to 25 games from the world's greatest international competition. Now there's been and Son has gone down injured on the near side, long ball forward, and it is a free kick. A late challenge there by one of the United players. 10 minutes to go to the break. Soddy's back on his feet and he's looking a little bit gingerly, but not too bad. A free kick to be taken by Eriksson. Eriksson takes the free kick, and again Manchester United looking to go into defensive mode, as what United will want to do, Mourinho will want to do. That's a foul there. Really silly challenge there on Eriksson by Wayne Rooney, and Rooney I think will pick up the first caution of the contest. He is a passionate player. He really puts his heart and soul into it, but also he's a very dangerous tackler as well. He has got a reputation for going in very hard in tackles, and there was no exception for Hart. He takes a yellow card. First one of the match comes after 36 minutes. Long ball forward, but David De Gea from the long ball forward from the right, but it's David De Gea's ball taking the ball, plucking it out of the air without a minimum of fuss. And now back to De Gea once again. 36.5 minutes gone here. The match live from White Hart Lane, and of course we might well have another match live. There's a few midweek Premier League games. We'll let you know if we're covering any of those during the midweek, because we've still got some midweek Premier League action still to go, and then a week today it's the final round of Premier League fixtures, and we'll be focused on events at Turf Moor as Burnley and West Ham play out their final games of the season. That'll be a Clarets match delayed from Turf Moor, and the stream will take place on Monday afternoon, 24 hours after the game is finished. And then on the Saturday we'll have live coverage of the FA Cup final from Wembley Stadium between Arsenal and Chelsea. Join us at 5 o'clock on that particular Saturday afternoon for that one. And of course Chelsea tomorrow take on Watford in the Monday night game. and it'll be the final game at Stamford Bridge this season, and it'll be a real championship party. And well done to the Chelsea there. Ashley asked, De Gea could be going. Who do you think could replace him? Well, I'm not sure. I mean, Joe Hart, I would have said, would have been a good choice, but with his Manchester City connections, would City let him go to United? Well, that's a difficult one for them to call. There's plenty of good goalkeepers out there. United have got good money, so who knows? As United on the defensive once again. I think the thing is now, there has been rumours. Whether the rumours are true or not about the hair, actually, we don't know. Sometimes paper talk can be certainly wide of the mark. Real Madrid are rumoured to be interested in paying massive money for him. But will he go to Real Madrid, considering he has connections with the other Madrid club, Atletico? Well, that'll be one to see. Remember, Spurs have not lost at home in the Premier League this season. They've got a proud unbeaten record, and they deserve what a send-off for White Hart Lane if they could end the season unbeaten at the Lane in its last season. As Lloris just touches it on to Ben Davies. Ben Davies now breaking down the left and gets a long ball forward up towards Harry Kane, 10 yards inside the Manchester United half. Now Mata has it. Mata trying to get Bally on his way, but Bally has won the throw near side. United's right hand side. We're coming up towards 5.5 minutes to go before the break here at White Hart Lane. Tottenham 1, Manchester United 0. And here's Anthony Martial winning the corner. In fact, it's not a corner, it's a goal kick to Tottenham Hotspur, who lead by a goal in the fifth and after 5.5 minutes from Victor Wanyama. Been a marvellous game of football so far. Just as I said, a one goal in it. But apart from that, really, the football from Spurs has been really top-notch stuff. United have tried to really counteract it, but apart from that one effort from Martial that just went wide of the right-hand post of Hugo Lloris, there's not been much else to write home about really as far as Manchester United are concerned. Well, we're now inside the first 4.5 minutes of the first half. Plus any stoppage time that might be added on, and I don't think there's going to be too much. I would probably wager, unless there was a massive stoppage within the next 4.5 minutes, that they might be in the region of maybe 1, maybe possibly 2 minutes at best. And Jesse Lingard bundled off the ball legally. A throw to Tottenham. On right on halfway on the far side. That's a silly little foul there from Jesse Lingard. That was a silly foul to give away on halfway. There was no need for it. And here's Trippier now, far side for Tottenham. And Son gets it back to Trippier. And Son continues his run down the right. Son trying to get to the byline. United defender is Juan Mata. Back to Trippier once more, just on the byline on the right hand side. And then Spurs play it back towards halfway, and this is Vertonghen. Vertonghen now, first touch a little heavy, but played it to Wanyama, and that was a loose ball by Wanyama. And here goes Manchester United. It's Martial now breaking for United, and he goes down, but no penalty. It was a fair challenge there by Jan Vertonghen. Got back there, it was a good, decent shoulder charge. And Martial, I have to say, went down rather easily, and I don't think John Moss was going to be in any position to give a possible United penalties, and besides which there was no great appeals from any of the United players. 3 minutes of the first half of normal time to go. A quick goal in the 6th minute from Victor Wanyama is going to be the difference here, possibly at half time, between two of the most illustrious names in British football. That's a foul by Wayne Rooney, who's already on a yellow card. Remember, the last time we covered Manchester United on this YouTube channel, there was a red card in the game. In that game, it was Ander Herrera who got sent off. It was the cup tie at Chelsea. So Wayne Rooney has to watch his step now. He's already on a bucket. Here's Ben Davies, far near side, wins a corner off Bailey. And it will be an opportunity now. Can Spurs double their lead in the final 2 minutes of the first half? Now, will they work the short corner? The short corner worked to terrific effect in the first half. Can they do so right now as we head towards the end of this half? Ericsson to take it from the left hand side, the near side as I look, and it's Ericsson with the right foot, swings it into that penalty area. United got a head on that, and it will drop here for Tottenham as Ben Davies takes possession midway inside United territory. United one goal down, not really offered too much really as an attacking force so far, and they've been a tad disappointing really, United, in relation to the way they've gone about it really today, as Dyer heads that on towards Son on the far side, but can't keep it in. We're inside definitely the last 70 seconds of the first half of normal time, and then it'll be down to the fourth official to add on at least a minute or two stoppage time, and Spurs will go in quite satisfied. Maybe should be leading by more than the one goal they've had so far in the game. But David De Gea has made a couple of bad errors, but he's made a great save to deny Dele Alli, of course, midway through that half. But here come Manchester United now trying to make something of it, and here's Juan Mata towards the area. Still chances there. There was a foul, was there possibly? No, says the referee. No foul there. And it's play on as the ball comes in now towards Dele Alli and away by Smalling, but it's a throw halfway inside the Manchester United half. 15 seconds of normal time to play. Ericsson on the near side knocks the ball back again. They've just kept the possession really well, Spurs. Harley now to Ericsson. Ericsson has really been at the hub, as I say, of making good things happen. Now Ben Davies has it now, plays it to Wanyama. Wanyama now to the far side. And here is Wanyama again. Trippier as an outlet. We've just about got there. Son trying to play it back in again to Trippier, but it's been snuffed out once more. Spurs still coming forward with a great purpose. Here's Ericsson. Harry Kane is onside. Harry Kane in the penalty area shoots, and it's blocked away by Manchester United. It may have been a save by the goalkeeper. Couldn't tell because of the sunshine. It's right down on us as we are now into one additional minute, which we're halfway through now, and then it will be the half-time interval here at White Hart Lane, and we'll take 5 minutes break from that, and then after that 5-minute interval there will be full coverage of the second half. Remember, Crowley beat Hull 4-0. There's a chance now for Martial inside the penalty area. Just wouldn't break for one matter on the edge of the D. Spurs just about had sufficient numbers. And now Dele Alli down the left-hand side, deep inside United's half. Cuts inside towards the penalty area. Been a good challenge there by Manchester United as the whistle goes for half-time. A terrific first 45 minutes for Tottenham, who lead for a goal in the 6th minute from Victor Wanyama. The short corner from Ericsson found Ben Davies on the left-hand side, and his cross from the left-hand side was headed at the far post by Victor Wanyama, headed it into the opposite corner, into the left-hand corner of the net, and it's Tottenham Hotspur who have the lead in the final competitive match here at White Hart Lane. We're going to take a 5-minute break. After that break, we'll have full second half commentary for you, but it's half-time here at the Lane in the final game here after 119 years competitive football being played at the old ground, and it's the team that plays there, Tottenham Hotspur, who lead Manchester United by a Victor Wanyama goal to 0. We're going to take a quick 5-minute break to catch our breath after a good first 45 minutes. Be sure to join us for full match commentary of the second half after this break. Until then, take care. I'll see you in about 5 minutes time. Half time, Spurs 1, Manchester United 0. Welcome back to the match live from White Hart Lane, where Tottenham lead by a goal to nil. A goal in the 6th minute from Victor Wanyama. A header at the right-hand far post makes it 1-0. Absolutely out-jumped Rooney to the punch. No chance for David De Gea as it snuck into the left-hand corner. And that's the half-time lead at the moment between Spurs and Manchester United. Earlier today, Hull City were relegated from the Premier League, beaten 4-0 by Crystal Palace, who are now safe. And also mathematically safe for Burnley, Watford, and of course Swansea City, who had a momentous victory against Sunderland yesterday, which has basically kept their Premier League status intact. Paul Clement has done a magnificent job. He took over a club that were 4 points from safety and at the bottom of the table, and they've turned it right around. So well done to Swansea. Disappointment for Hull, who were beaten, not just beaten, but pulverated by Palace. Also winning today were Liverpool, 4-0 winners at West Ham. Open and shut case for them. So a great result there for Liverpool, and they stay in third. They go into third place and only need a good positive result now against already relegated Middlesbrough, and they will be playing Champions League football next season. Let's go back to the comments, shall we? Mad Claret 94 is on. Chris is on today. Well, good afternoon to you, Chris. My old sparring partner from Let's Talk Football, and let's not forget that me and Mad Claret will be back with LTF, the last Premier League predictions of the season with LTF, and should be an emotional occasion, that one. He says Jack Butland would be, I think he's weighed in on the Manchester United potential goalkeeper replacements. He says that Butland would be a terrific replacement, although Kasper Schmeichel is being mentioned. Well, it's good to have Chris with us. It's good to have you with us. And if you have messaged me and you're a first time on watching this, or watching the channel rather, any content from the channel, and you would like to subscribe, all you've got to do is press subscribe and you subscribe to my channel. As easy as 1, 2, 3. We're just waiting for the teams to come out here at White Hart Lane, and during the break I've just been having a nice cup of coffee and a bar of dark chocolate. Very nice it was too, and that'll keep me adrenaline flowed for what could be a very emotional second half. White Hart Lane's final ever match in this, guys, before the bulldozers come in tomorrow afternoon and knock this famous old ground down. It's going to be a sad day, of course it is, but time must it must move on. I'm afraid time has to move on, and Spurs will surely have to move with the times, almost certainly. And here we are then, back at White Hart Lane. The players are out onto the field. David De Gea there as well. And it's the final 45 minutes of football at White Hart Lane is about to get underway. The Tottenham players coming out to a rapturous reception here at White Hart Lane. Mauricio Pochettino's men deservedly a goal ahead. Should have been at least 2 goals clear. United's best chance came from Anthony Martial, who shot wide of Lloris's right-hand post. But apart from that, really, United haven't really offered much. Wayne Rooney hasn't really been in the game. He has been booked, however, for a silly challenge. So Spurs now will attack the right-hand end in their white shirts, black shorts and black stockings. Attack the right hand end for the final time then at White Hart Lane. Manchester United in the red shirts, white shorts and white socks will attack the end where their supporters are. Can Spurs score again and get... They're going for a 14 straight victory on this ground. And what a way this could be a send-off for them. They have played some really exhilarating stuff here at the Lane this season. They are an absolute unbeatable side here at White Hart Lane. Might be a bit different next year when they have to go to Wembley. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So away we go in the second half. Free kick already given on by Ben Davies on the far side. Although I'm sure Mourinho will come here. He doesn't much change United's side. A few of the regulars left out, maybe with the Europa final in mind, in just over 10 days' time. He complains, Mourinho, that they've got 2 games to play in that intervening time, United, whereas Ajax, their opponents in the final in Stockholm, haven't. Here's Daily Blend and an early run down the left-hand side. Has won the corner. As I say, Spurs are in the white shirts, Manchester United in red, so they're in traditional colours now. Marcus Rashford there warming up over on the far side, and you're welcome to join in and comment about the game, and any Burnley fans listening in want to comment on Burnley staying in the division for another season, and the prospect of going to Wembley to face Spurs next season, of course, will be absolutely amazing. Go to Old Trafford, the London Stadium, the Etihad, Anfield, all these big stadiums, the Emirates stadiums, really tempting enough. But now to add Wembley to the list, with Spurs being there for at least a season, is really going to be something very, very special indeed. And it's great for Burnley to be part of this party. Of course, the St James's Park, Matt Corrick back on again. United have got a habit of being the final visitors. I'll tell you what, myself and Matt Corrick will be back on Saturday with LTF. We will be filming it on the Thursday, and then it will be coming to your YouTube, going on his YouTube channel on Saturday. And if you haven't subscribed to his YouTube channel, please subscribe to his YouTube channel now. LTF has had a bit of a good following from a few people as well, and as we've got a few of our fans, I'm sure, listening to this commentary stream this afternoon, and he's back on again. He does make a good point. It seems a long time ago, as he says, they were the last team to play at the bowling ground of Upton Park last season. They lost that time as well. And they've got a free kick to their friend on the far side. Ericsson to take it. 2-3 in the United wall. From the left-hand side in towards the penalty area, and that's the second goal. And it's Harry Kane at the near post with a near post flick header into the right-hand corner of the net. And Tottenham are further strengthen their grip on this game and go 2 goals ahead. And do you know what? They more than deserve the lead they've got right now. United done by 2 pieces of set plays just onside. There was the flick. Was there a deflection? Harry Kane certainly wheeled away to claim the goal. Here it is there. Yes, just a flick there. In fact, it wouldn't come off his head. It came off his right foot. Beyond Eric Dyer, I think may have got a brush on it. In fact, it was his right foot rather than his head. Got it into the right-hand corner of the net, past David De Gea, who again, question marks will be asked about his positioning, but it doesn't really matter if you're a Spurs fan. They're 2 goals up, and deservedly so. With 49 minutes now on the clock, United really undone defensively. You can tell now that they are putting all their eggs into the Europa League basket, as Ashley Marchman pointed out earlier on in the first half when he commented about that. Really poor defender for United, and Mourinho will not be happy about that. And now Spurs into a really good position now, 2 goals ahead, deservedly so. And if they can get a third, it would be, if they got 2 or 3 or 4 now this afternoon, I don't think we'd be too surprised. You look at the way their home record has been. They've won 13 on the spin before today, and at the moment it looks as if it's going to be at least 14 on the spin. If you just to remind you, if you've come in late and you don't know the 2 other scores from earlier today, as Ericsson goes on another run but can't get it through, and it's United who get it back to David De Gea inside the penalty area. Earlier today, Crystal Palace beat Hull City 4-0 and have sent the Tigers down to the Championship, along with Middlesbrough, who came up with them last season, and Sunderland, who have had the season from hell, quite frankly. There are people now wanting David Moyes out. The only good thing about what happened at Stadium of Light was the support for young Bradley Lowry, who's, I should say, free kick given to Spurs on the halfway line. I should also mention Bradley Lowry while we're on the subject of Sunderland. He was guest of honour again at yesterday's game, and they dedicated the Sunderland programme dedicated the front cover to Bradley Lowry. What a nice touch by the football club. Forget the nightmares the season out there having off the pitch. It bails into insignificance of what that young lad Bradley Lowry is going through, and let's hope he's battled really well, although the cancer, I believe, has got a whole lot worse. Harry Kane has not kept that in play on the near side. I just hope and pray that he's strong enough to beat this cancer, and hopefully his life will be as prolonged as is possible, because the lad is a really good fella. Remember, he was invited to the Grand National. He's been an England mascot, and he's going to take away a lot of happy memories. Him and his family has shown shoots from about 25 yards out, centre of the goal, centre of the D, and straight into the arms of David De Gea with his left foot as well. Son, he struck that very well. He has been the unsung hero for me, Son. Scored against Burnley, was probably man of the match in that game at Turf War, which we covered, because it was remembered for the Dele Alli miss. And Mike Claret was right in the crowd, and in one of the LTF opening intros, he points that very much out in a very funny and comical way. And I've played it 1,000 times and I still laugh out loud to that. Here's Bailey, and Barry now making a good run past Ben Davis, right hand side. Can United get themselves back into this game? They have been truly and utterly second best throughout. Here's Daley Blind now. Can Jesse Lingard produce something here for United? They are a team now full of top quality talent. Marcus Rashford may well come on and try and change things United's way, but at the moment it's looking increasingly like Spurs are going to go on riot and maybe score the next goal, because here's Harry Kane, right hand side of the D, cuts inside, left footed shot and just wide off the far post. That was a really good shot from about 25 yards, edge of the D. Ericsson intercepting, lovely ball. Son breaking through the middle over the halfway line. Kane cutting from the right hand side, got the shot in, but I think he caught it a little bit wrong. But he's having the taste for it in the second half, Harry Kane. Just a yard or two wide of the target in the end. Teddy Sheringham, a goal poacher himself, in the crowd. David Ginola to his right. As we've seen Pat Jennings, we've seen Glenn Hoddle. There's Dimitar Berbatov. He represented both Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspur. Plenty of faces from Spurs' past. Glenn Hoddle we've already seen. So many memories. A double winning side is 61. League Cup winners in 71. They won the UEFA Cup here in 72 against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Aaron Murray scoring the winner that particular evening. Then that Aldiras and Villiers side of 81, when they won that thrilling FA Cup final replay against Manchester City 3-2. One of the best cup final replays has ever been. That famous Thursday night at Wembley. And they won the UEFA Cup here in 84 against Anderlecht. Tony Parks, the hero in that penalty shootout. And here's another modern day hero. His son crosses in from the right, deflects off Michael Carrick, and it will be another Tottenham corner. And Tottenham now playing some really rampant football and about to create surely another final White Hart Lane memory. They have been the better team, there's no doubt about it, and I'm giving this old White Hart Lane the fitting send-off that this grand old stadium totally and utterly deserves. Corner kick then to Spurs. Ericsson with his right foot from the right hand side towards the back post, header over the top by Victor Wanyama, who got the first goal, and a goal kick to Manchester United. Wanyama got the first after 5.5 minutes. Harry Kane with the second. This was the foul that led to the goal. It was a silly foul on Dele Alli. Then the free kick, and touched in with minimum of fuss at the near post by Harry Kane, to the dismay of Jose Mourinho, who will be a little bit disappointed really with the defending. I'm sure he'll be disappointed with that. 10 minutes just over gone in this second half, so Spurs well in command now, 2-0 up against a Manchester United side who, as I say, may well be putting all their eggs in one particular basket. That Europa final against Ajax in just under 10 days from now. A week on Wednesday that final takes place. And United have never won that competition. They've won the European Cup twice, and 3 times, and they've won the Cup Winners' Cup in '91, but they've never won the Europa League, whether it's been the Fairs Cup or UEFA Cup as its previous incarnations. A bit of well, Bill Jones has been penalised for obstruction as Harry Kane was trying to get the ball away and Jones wouldn't let him do so. In fact, it's a free kick the other way, in fact, to Manchester United, taken very quickly towards Wayne Rooney inside the area. His header was tame and it was well off target, but Lloris was able to come and collect anyway. White Hart Lane buzzing, they're singing away, the Spurs fans. They're all cheering, all singing as one. And really, it's been that sort of an afternoon, really. Spurs were favourites with the bookmakers to win the game, and they're proving the bookmakers well and truly right here this afternoon. Harry Kane has yielded a throw on the far side, deep inside Manchester United's territory, about 10 yards, almost level with the penalty area. Here is Sod now, left hand side, almost to the byline. Carrick is the defender in front of him, and the ball back again to Ben Davies, who will have an assist on the opening goal of the game. And again a long ball towards the right. Trippier is there. Trippier seemed to be bundled to the ground, and I have to say, on another day, maybe that was a foul. Was it inside or out? Well, it was definitely inside the box. I think that's a penalty, because Trippier's going for it and Glenn just shoved him out of the way. I think the referee's missed that. I think that's a penalty, and I think Spurs should have had one. Let me know what you thought, guys, in the comment section. Should Trippier have given Spurs won a penalty for Tottenham? Looked a clumsy challenge from daylayed, I have to say, and I've seen those given. Here's Martial, 15 yards from the halfway line. Plays it in there, and a chance here for United to break far side. United now trying to get sufficient numbers. Rooney's waiting in the middle, ball back, and it's Jesse Lingard. Lingard now, edge of the area to Martial, then Carrick with the shot, wide of the target. That's the best chance we've seen in the game, and it's not been United's day, but absolutely sure. It wasn't Carrick, in fact, it was Jesse Lingard, with the shot, and it was wide of the target. And we're going to see a double substitution. Ander Herrera, who was sent off when we last covered Manchester United in that FA Cup quarter-final on back in March against Chelsea. And Mkhitaryan, Henrik Mkhitaryan, the former Borussia Dortmund man. No Pogba, I don't think, in the 16. And here comes Blaine. That's a good ball, but won't find Rooney. Vertonghen will get there first and get it back to Hugo Lloris, who hasn't really had a shot to save. You wouldn't say that against an opposition keeper against Manchester United, would you? Because United normally, in a lot of the games, make chances, and they've not made really an opportunity of any real note, even so from set plays. But they have one midway inside the Spurs half. Eric Bailly, the man who was fouled, and they want to take the free kick quickly, and they're looking towards Martial now on this left hand side. Martial 5 yards from the byline, looking to try and get across him, but there were 2 Spurs defenders going to close him down. It's going to be a throw level with the Tottenham penalty area on the left hand side. Now we're gone, and it looks as if Lee Mason, the 4th official, wants to get referee Moss's attention, and United will now make a double substitution, and it's going to be Ander Herrera to come off, And he is going to replace the young lad that started today, number 30. I'll know his name in just a second. It's Sandro Herrera's about to come on. We're just seeing who it might be. Tosin Airby, that's his name. I think I probably got the pronunciation wrong. There's a flag about Andrew Herrera over on the far side. I couldn't really tell what it said on it. And then Jesse Lingard, who's been utterly appalling today, is going to be replaced by Henrik Mkhitaryan. So they're both now going to get a half-hour cameo. Can they engineer a Manchester United comeback? They're 2 goals down and staring defeat well and truly in the face as Blind takes the throw level with the penalty area. Now a chance here for Blind to get the cross in, right-footed from the left-hand side, looking for Rooney, and Spurs hook it out for a corner. Rooney has been short of goals this season. Still a real threat in that final third. Earlier today, Crystal Palace relegated Hull, beat them 4-0, and West Ham took a massive pacing in their final home match of the season at the London Stadium. 4-0, Liverpool won. Blind with the corner for Manchester United, nodded out by Spurs. Mkhitaryan gets his first touch, back to Blind again, right foot across this time, but again not many United players bothering to try and get on the end of that. Not enough red shirts gambling in there. And Glenn Little, I think on Twitter is saying, Magcard is saying that Glenn Little on Twitter says that Spurs are making United look like a championship team. Well, Glenn Little, certainly a great footballer, great distinction, played in the Premier League for Reading and played for the Clarets for many, many years. Super Glenn Little, they used to call him at the turf. Here's Harry Kane now, he's been super this season again. 20 goals again, plus more for this terrific young striker. And here's Dele Alli on the far side. Son is waiting in the centre, that's towards Son, and almost got a flick on it inside the penalty area on the edge of the 6-yard box. And now at the other end we've got Anthony Martial, who scored a cracking goal against Burnley a couple of weeks ago. Martial, edge of the area, tries to bend it in and just wide of the far post. That was a really good run by Anthony Martial with his right and cut inside, and from almost 22 yards hit this right foot shot from the right hand of the on the left hand side of the D, and it just misses the right hand post by a whisker there. And he has been the only one really from United that's made 1 or 2 things happen in the final third, Martial, and it's not been good enough really. United need so much more from their attacking players and their midfielders, and I don't think they've stepped up to the level today. There's still a game here to compete in, and I don't think they've competed. It's been in the race so easy for Tottenham. And the ball will find Trippier. Will he keep it in though? It's a different story, and he has kept it in by the corner quadrant. He just kept it in on that byline on the right hand corner quadrant. And here he is now, right hand side, looking for options. He's found Eric Dyer, who finds Eriksen. He has been a marvel today, Christian Eriksen. His corner kicks, he's mixed them up and it's paid dividends. Set pieces, he really has mixed them all up and has really fooled United defensively on 2 separate occasions. Here's Eric Dyer now midway inside the Spurs half. Here's Trippier. What a great end to the season he's had since displacing the unsettled Kyle Walker in the Tottenham team. Oh, almost through to Harry Kane. Might break for Son on the edge of the area, but in the end Ander Herrera got a good foot in there, and now United can break away with Carrick over to the far side. Now Juan Mata now running towards the penalty area, has to play it out to the right hand side. Now needs a good crossing from the right hand side. Mata waits by the edge of the 6-yard line. Again, good defending from Spurs. Now Dele Alli has it deep inside his own half, runs over the halfway line, runs into Bally, and it will be a Manchester United throw in, to the great surprise of Dele Alli and the Tottenham fans. Did look a Spurs throwing to me, but the referee wasn't seeing it, and then Dele Alli fouls his man and gives the referee a rueful look. Pochettino not happy. Last thing Spurs want to do with 25 minutes of this match to go is lose a bit of discipline, because that will playing into Manchester United's hands. Here's daylayed near side to Martial. Martial trying to play a 1-2, but that's hooked away, and it's United's throw. They take it quickly from Martial, but Trippier, very alert to the danger, intercepted that one beautifully. Tottenham 2, Manchester United 0. Wanyama in the first half. After 6 minutes, Harry Kane 3 minutes into the second half have given Spurs more than lift off here, although United have tried to ask 1 or 2 more questions as this second half has gone on. Martial has come close since then. We've had just over 21 minutes of the second half, coming up towards the halfway point of the final second half the final half of football ever at this incarnation of White Hart Lane, a ground that's been built since 1899. And as Matt Clark pointed out, and as I referred to earlier, they had won big leads against United before. 2001, when Glenn Hoddle was manager, they led 3-0 at half-time, Spurs, but then United came back in grand style to win 5-3. One of the best Premier League games there's ever been. And I remember watching that at the time and just thinking, what a great product we had in those days. They had Sir Alex Ferguson as manager in those days, and they're on to their third manager since Ferguson retired. Of course, they had David Moyes. It didn't work out after 7 or 8 months. And then they had Louis van Gaal for a couple of years, won the cup last season and still got sacked. And now they've got Jose Mourinho, who's already won the League Cup, looking to win a cup double. Remember, if you win the Europa League now, you qualify automatically for the Champions League, but I don't think it's the group stages. I'll have to check the rules on that. I think that would be a bit unkind, really, for the 4th place team if you win the Europa League and then automatically qualify. I do think you need to qualify for at least an earlier round before you get into the group phase. I'm sure someone will double check that for us, but it's going to be an interesting end of the season. We do have some World Cup qualifiers as well. England away at Scotland will bring to you on the YouTube channel, either live or delayed from Hampden Park. England-France coming up in a prestige friendly that will end the season of commentaries for us on the YouTube channel. And then it'll be other sports dominating, the cricket, Wimbledon, all these sort of events, the Open Golf Championship, and then it'll be all back. And of course not forgetting the Tour de France as well. And then after all that, we'll be back. And we'll be back again in August with the Community Shield, which could well be a Chelsea-Tottenham affair, if Chelsea win the double, of course, and obviously Spurs on course to finish a very credible second. They've never finished second in the top flight since 1963. And of course, they've not won the league since 61. And if this team stays as it is and adds a few more quality names, and they'll have money to spend, Spurs, there's no doubt about it. Daniel Levy will certainly loosen the purse strings from Mauricio Pochettino. I think they've got the right man in charge at White Hart Lane. Well, it won't be White Hart Lane after this game. Well, it will be Wembley Stadium. I think of the big grounds that Burnley will be visiting next season. Astronomical to think now. Matt Clark, as Chris has come on, he says they do actually qualify automatically by Europa League, so it is actually, so they do actually qualify. I think it's for the group stages they qualify automatically, and we're just seeing a great old ground. There's the cranes behind the stand to the right, which is currently building the new stadium. So it means after tomorrow they'll be able to knock the old ground down, the bulldozers, and then they can finish off the stadium. Chris, I should say, says 4th place was still going to the playoffs. Well, that's thanks to my old buddy and sparring partner Chris, Madcarrot 94, we we cleared that particular problem up. And it does seem a bit wrong, but there you go. But a great opportunity. But Ajax are no slouches. They beat Lyon very convincingly over 2 legs the other day. In really an open and shut semi-final as Martial cuts in for United, and they pull one back. And it's Wayne Rooney from 3 yards out in front of goal with his right foot, slides it in, and we've got an interesting 20 minutes left now. Wayne Rooney had scored at White Hart Lane for Manchester United. It's 2-1, and it was all about that man Martial. Receives the ball on the left-hand side, goes past Trippier, ball back across. Inside the 6-yard box was Wayne Rooney, and the predatory instincts of the Manchester United captain and England captain getting in front of his man and stabbing the ball past Hugo Lloris. And Manchester United back in the game, 2-1. That really sets up the second half now, last 20 minutes. Meanwhile, Spurs have made a substitution. Dembele has now come on. He slipped as he got the ball away. Wanyama for Spurs, far side. And Davis, far side as well. Infield to Ericsson crossing in again. Trippier with a cross to Hart for a corner. 17 minutes of the second half. 2-1 to Spurs. 7th corner now. Harrison to swing it in from the far side. Trippier knocking it long again when getting it out. So we're back with you now. Apologies for the loss of sound. We are back with you now. We've had gremlins on the commentaries this weekend and today, unfortunately. But you haven't missed a goal at all. It's still 2-1 to Spurs. 13 minutes left to play. And it was just a technical problem. Here's Rooney on the left hand side. There's a Spurs player out and the referee quite rightly stops it. It's just trying to see who it might be. Trippier. It's actually Trippier that's gone down. Oof. Actually landed quite awkwardly there. Let's hope that's not too serious. 78 minutes gone. Again, as I say, I'm sorry about the last couple of minutes there. We lost sound, but we are back with you now. I hope you can all hear us here at White Hart Lane. Off comes Juan Mata to be replaced by the man in form, we could say, Marcus Rashford. Still a carnival atmosphere at White Hart Lane, but there's a lot of concerned looks around the stadium as Kieran Trippier is sat up now a bit, which is a relief. Of course, Chelsea will have their title party tomorrow evening. Unfortunately, we will not be able to cover it because I'm going to be otherwise elsewhere. But the audio is back with us. And Spurs 2-1 up ahead now in this last ever match here at White Hart Lane. Been a marvellous achievement to finish second, and I have to say if they hold on to win 2-1, they'll have deserved it. United have started playing since the substitutions. Trippier is still there, but he's been helped to his feet by the trainer. Trippier for England, says Magclair at 94. Says Chris, well, you wouldn't put it past him. The way he's had, well, I have to agree with you, Chris, on the basis that it's been terrific. And farewell to the lane. To dare is to do. 1899 to 2017. History, pride and passion. Thank you, Daniel Levy. Is a nice little banner there. Ashley's back with us after a little while. Well, barely deserved, but we can still spoil the party. Well, there's still a good 10 minutes, so we're in for a grand slam finish here. Wayne Rooney has given United hope. United, despite having a much changed side, have got enough talent in there to really give Spurs a good game, and they have done today. And now with Rashford on for the last 10 minutes, it could be a little bit more interesting. Ball forward, but Vertonghen will get there and get it back to Lloris, who had no chance with Rooney's goal. And then the ball, oof. Rooney through the back of Renderis. Now Rooney has to be careful, he's already on a yellow card. Can't afford to make another foul, otherwise John Moss will have no choice but to send him off. 9 minutes to play. Tottenham 2, Manchester United 1. Thankfully the sound loss didn't, hopefully that doesn't affect your enjoyment of the commentary. At least we didn't, at least there wasn't a goal scored. Kieran Trippier is going to be replaced by Kyle Walker, which is a shame really for Trippier, but Walker, who's been linked with a move away from Tottenham and up the road to Manchester. Another Spurs player going down, that's Harry Kane. I think he's taking a whack to the back of the head there. And, well, Lee Mason there, fourth official, signifying that Trippier's match has been run. And on, good on. And come on. Kyle Walker for Kieran Trippier. Could end this, I don't know what Chris could end this United early if he's not careful. A career, I should say, earlier if he's not careful. I think that's Chris is referring to Kieran Trippier. Hopefully he's not too seriously injured. There's only one game of Spurs this season left to go, and which is, I think the season has been terrific from a point of view of the league. Second, if they hold on to what they've got now, the remaining 7 minutes plus stoppage time, will be an exceptional achievement. The first time they'll have ever finished second in the top flight since '63. Of course, they haven't won the league since '61, which is obviously quite a long time without winning the league. And there's Dele Alli, ball back across, and almost a third one for Tottenham. Well, Spurs, so many. Here's an opportunity here now for Walker, far side. He'll be kept in by Dele Alli on the far side. I think he meant Rooney. Rooney he meant. That's me getting it all wrong then. Chris meant Rooney, him being booked and all that jazz. And I have to say, Wayne Rooney doesn't seem interested. This was the opportunity for Dele Alli. Broke into the penalty area here, went for the shot, and in fact it was kicked off the line by a United defender. It may have been Daley Blind on the line there. Cut inside from the right hand side, and in fact, had they got in, it would have been game over. Phil Jones, in fact, got back on the line to deny Dele Alli, which would have been the killer third goal. 6 minutes plus stoppage time remain. Tottenham 2, United 1 here at White Hart Lane. The match live, and it will be coming from White Hart Lane for the final ever time, because Tottenham, as from next season, will be playing all their home matches a few miles down the road from here at Wembley Stadium. 2-1 they lead against United, who really is terrific. Ashley says, I think Spurs' future's in good hands. New stadium, a top manager and a new stadium. Not the selling club they used to be. Well, they certainly aren't. There's a Spurs player gone down, but there's no great appeals from Dele Alli for a possible penalty. 5 minutes of normal time almost now to go. In fact, we have exactly 5 minutes of normal time now to go. Ben Davies is taking the throw for Spurs. He's cross led to the first goal for Victor Wanyama. Then Harry Kane 3 minutes after 6 minutes, and then Harry Kane 3 minutes into the second half made it 2 from a free kick taken by Christian Eriksen. And then Wayne Rooney, after some good work down the left hand side by Anthony Martial, tapped in from 3 yards out to give Manchester United hope with 21 minutes left. And that's the state of play. Game still in a balance. 4.5 minutes to go. But still, Spurs fans making a whole lot of noise. And if they can hang on, it will be 14 wins on the spin here at White Hart Lane. And what a way for the old ground to get a terrific send-off. It's going to be a free kick given against Dembele, who's come on as a substitute. Here's Smalling now for United from the free kick to Bally. Bally now for United. Mkhitaryan trying to play it in. Still 2-1 to Spurs, and they're on the break now. Here's Harry Kane. Back to Dyer, and Eriksen is offside. In fact, Dyer in fact was the man offside. And he says, Chris replies, said, careful, they might end up like Arsenal. Don't be tempting fate, Chris. 3.5 minutes now to go, and a nice little conversation there I noticed on the far side between the two opposite managers, Mauricio Pochettino and Jose Mourinho. That's nice to see in a game where managers usually get pent up and angry with each other. It's actually good to see two managers having a casual chat whilst the match is still going on, and there's still 3 minutes of the match still to play. and I'm sure we'll stay on for a little while after the final whistle and sort of like catch the scenes at White Hart Lane. It's the final ever match here, and it's been a remarkable achievement, really it has. And of course, a week on Sunday will be the final round of matches, and a week on Monday, in fact, we will have the Burnley's last match of the season. They play against West Ham at Turf Moor, and we'll be able to hear delayed commentary of that match at on Monday, late Monday afternoon, for you on that channel. Oh dear. And we've also got some friendly banter on the messaging as well. It's been a good, apart from that little bit of sound loss today, it's been a really good broadcast. Everybody who's contributed has been really good. They've kept within the house rules, so it's been a marvellous occasion. It's been a good game to commentate on. It's been a good game to watch. It's been marvellous to see it happen, and both teams have really given a good account of themselves in the second half, especially. It was one-way traffic in the first when Spurs took an early lead, and then obviously they went 2 up. But after that, then United started to come back into the game, and really, let's be fair, they've made a decent fist of it in the second half, United, and they are now on the right-hand side, ball in towards the penalty area, knocked away as far as Carrick now to Blend now to Martial, who's been probably United's best player on the left-hand side. But Walker did really well and hooked away by Victor Wanyama down the left-hand side. The comments now into laughter mode as Harry Kane couldn't keep that in. It will be a Manchester United throw. Phil Jones and Harry Kane, I thought for a moment we're going to tangle with each other. Also, a word or two about the game as well. Apart from the Rooney tackle, there's not been one moment of malice throughout the entire match, and it's good to see the final game at White Hart Lane being played in a tremendous spirit between two sides who have tried to play football in the way that it should be played. And obviously, in the Tottenham tradition, they do like to play very good football, and we've certainly seen a good game of football to round off the old White Hart Lane and in some style. And regardless of what the result might end up being, Bally can't keep it in on the far side, and it will be a throw to Spurs, 5 yards in from their own byline. And I can't see the stoppage time board. In fact, I've seen it now. 5 added minutes at the end of the second half, so we're going to have 5 more minutes of football extra at White Hart Lane, and then once the whistle's blown by Jonathan Moss, who will have the distinction of being the last ever referee to referee a Tottenham match here at White Hart Lane, then once he finishes the game, then that's it. Nearly 120 years of football history at this famous old ground will be at an end forever and a day. Of course, we're going to see the final substitution here at White Hart Lane. Ben Davies is going to come off, and no, it's not. It's Christian Eriksen, in fact, who's going to be coming off, and he gets a standing ovation. I think he's been man of the match for me. And the final Tottenham substitute in this White Hart Lane era that will replace Christian Eriksen is Nick Dodo. I think that's how you pronounce it, but he's going to make a bit of make a bit of White Hart Lane history. There'll be a nice pub quiz question. Who was the last Tottenham substitute to ever enter the fly at the old incarnation of White Hart Lane? As Manchester United go on a counter-attack and a chance here for 2-2. The chipped inside the area. It was Rashford on the break, and what an opportunity. Well, Rashford in good form, one ball over the top, it caught everybody out, and he was just onside as the ball was played, Rashford, but 3 Spurs defenders, to their credit, got back and put Rashford off as he tried to hook it right-footed towards the goal, headed it down. He hooked it right-footed, but he hooked it right-footed wide of the post. And we've got another, unfortunately we got a spammer, Cristiano Ronaldo Magical. He's trying to coax people away. Would you please not do that? And obviously Chris is taking charge of the situation, quite rightly so. Well done, Chris. You see me really a real bother there by doing that. But I have to say, what a performance it has been from both sides, certainly in the second half. As I said, the game's been played in a tremendous cooperative spirit. And the Spurs fans getting ready to cheer now, the final whistle, and what a way if they can hang on now for the last 2 minutes. Plus any time added on for stoppages, it will be an amazing finish. As Spurs now go forward in search of a third one, and they might just do so on the far side. Shoots the shot coming in across the face from the left hand side. It's hooked away by Phil Jones. Throw to United midway inside their half. Deep into time added on now at the end of what is going to be an era at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. It's been a marvellous day. Good football, marvellous two teams. You couldn't have picked a better team to round it off on Manchester United. A real marquee game to finish their time at this particular White Hart Lane. It's a sad day, but it could be a happy day as well. And Spurs are just a minute away from crowning the final ever match at this famous old stadium with a win. And what a way to go. There's a banner there, farewell White Hart Lane. Flags are flying, apart from a small pocket of Manchester United fans on the far side as Rashford goes forward looking to try and get the equaliser. And it's come back to David De Gea at the other end of the field. 30 seconds to go of football at White Hart Lane. Will we see a dramatic late twist as the flags are still flying as United break down the left hand side? Martial is probably arguably been Manchester United's better player. Has done really well. The throw's been taken quickly to Martial. Martial can't make anything of it. Spurs now with a break. 15 seconds to go here at White Hart Lane. Can Spurs finish with a flourish? It's Dele Alli on the right hand side. He's just going to run it to the corner, I fancy. No. Kane was at the far post. Alli went down a little half-heartedly. We've played the 5 minutes, and there is the final whistle to end 120 years almost of football at White Hart Lane. Spurs have won it by 2-1, and the Spurs fans completely cockahoo. What a lovely way for Spurs to end their life at White Hart Lane with a victory. That's their 14th successive victory at the stadium, and there are fans onto the field. Harry Kane being mobbed, and I'm sure some of the Spurs fans will want so many years of the pitch before it's knocked down tomorrow afternoon. What a great moment in the history of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. They played really well on the day, got themselves a 2-goal buffer. Manchester United made it a little bit difficult with 20 minutes to go, but Spurs hold on and would not be denied that victory they so desperately craved in the last ever match to take place at this famous old ground. Spurs fans are invading the pitch, but it's in a very totally happy spirit, no hooligan element to it. Daniel Levy there, the Tottenham chairman, he's done a magnificent job. He was him that knew that they needed to grow the ground, because obviously they can't increase the capacity at the moment of the current White Hart Lane, which is something like 36,000. Spurs is a well supported club. Ashley's been on, gutted by the results, but it's fair play to Tottenham. The day is definitely yours. Enjoy the party on the last day at White Hart Lane. That's a really good spirited comment from a Manchester United supporter. Ashley is one of the best United supporters around. He's got a good knowledge of the game himself, and that's a really fair-minded comment from Ashley, and fair play to him. There's David Ginola there, in the director's box, capturing the last moments. There's so many great names that have played at White Hart Lane for so many years. The likes of Jimmy Greaves in the 60s, Cliff Jones as well. So many great managers that have managed here. Bill Nicholson, of course, who won the double in 61. Won the UEFA Cup and the League Cup as well. Keith Birkinshaw, who fashioned a great team in the early 80s with Ozzy Ardiles and Ricky Villa and Glenn Hoddle. David Pleat as well. Terry Venables, who won the cup with Gaz's Heroics, and Gary Lineker's poaching in 1991 when the club was basically on its knees. And now you had Harry Redknapp, who took them on that magical European Cup eventually in 2010-11. And it means now Spurs will be guaranteed third place because they have 2 games in hand. They obviously can't catch Chelsea because Chelsea are the champions, but they are guaranteed second place and will now qualify automatically for the Champions League next season. And well done to them. Glenn Hoddle there on the far side. And what a remarkable way to end almost 120 years of tradition competitive football at White Hart Lane. It's a traditional football ground, but times need to change and they need to move on. There's the famous cockerel on the west stand. We're just looking at it there as the camera pans away. The United fans have gone, but the Spurs fans are there, and the pitch, you can't even see a blade of grass. There's so many fans on the field. It's been a remarkable send-off today. Spurs took the lead after just 5.5 minutes through Victor Wanyama, who gave Spurs the lead. 3 minutes into the second half, Harry Kane doubled the advantage for Tottenham. Wayne Rooney pulled one back with 20 minutes to go. It's been and then Spurs hung on. They got the win. And White Hart Lane, as I can see right now, is full of noise, full of vigour. The fans on the field, you can't even virtually see a blade of grass because it's just been that sort of afternoon really where it's just, the game was going to be all about Spurs. No disrespect to Manchester United. They made a big game of it in the last 25 minutes or so and made it that little bit more difficult for Tottenham. But Tottenham hung on in there, and what a remarkable performance it really has. 14 consecutive victories at White Hart Lane this season. Unbelievable. An unbelievable way, and I think that's practically the whole of the home campaign unbeaten. I don't think they've lost once at White Hart Lane this season, although I'm sure someone will correct me if that has absolutely been the case. We're going to stay with you, see if we can get an interview with maybe one of the managers, Pochettino perhaps. Might be a while yet before we get any reaction, but what a performance it has been. Just cutting to an ad break on the television at the moment on Sky, but marvellous performance as we wait to see more scenes from White Hart Lane. Really has been a remarkable end of 120 years worth of terrific football at this great old venue. It really has. As I say, the likes of Jimmy Greaves in the 60s, who would score goals and goals aplenty. Then in the 70s you had the likes of Steve Perryman, Martin Shivers, Pat Jennings in goal, Steve Perryman coming through, Alan Mullery, Martin Peters, all them type of players. Then in the 80s, of course, Keith Birkinshaw was the manager then. He brought Ozzy Ardiles and Ricky Villa just after they won the World Cup in Argentina in 78. Took him a couple of years to bed in. And then in 81, it all came to fruition in that never to be forgotten FA Cup final replay when Ricky Villa and Ozzy Ardiles between them helped to produce one of the most sensational cup final replays there's ever been in the history of the game. That 3-2 classic with Manchester City, and the winning goal from Ricky Villa will never be forgotten. Even if it didn't take place at White Hart Lane, it was still a remarkable thing. Then they won the UEFA Cup again in 84. Toby Parks with the penalty save to deny Anderlecht and win Spurs the final. Graham Roberts had scored the equaliser, which took them 2 penalties that night. A real balmy night in May 84. Apologies there, just dropped something on the floor. But as I say, and then Glenn Hoddle as well played his trade at White Hart Lane. It's just been a remarkable thing. This is the history of White Hart Lane. Their first match was a friendly against Notts County. They actually won 4-1 in front of 5,000. Then the Copper Cockerel was placed above the West Stand and moved to the East Stand in 58. Their record crowd was in 1938 of 75,038. They actually lost that game in the FA Cup to Sunderland, and their biggest home win came in the FA Cup again on February the 3rd, 1960. They beat Crewe Alexandra 13-2 in an FA Cup tie. Steve Perryman made 336 appearances at White Hart Lane. That's a club record. And Jimmy Greaves actually scored the most goals at White Hart Lane, 176 goals for the great Greavesy, who's remembered more these days for his television exploits than he is for his goal-scoring record back in the day with Spurs. But the fans are still on the field. There's hardly a blade of grass to be seen now because of the fans there. Earlier today, West Ham were beaten quite comprehensively 4-0 at the London Stadium. Philip Coutinho got 2 goals and an assist, and they jumped back into 3rd place. And at Selhurst Park, in what was to be a real relegation 6-pointer and a half, Hull City were relegated along with Sunderland and Middlesbrough to the Championship. So the relegation issues have been sealed with a week to go. Swansea City have stayed up, partly due to that result and partly due to the fact they won at Sunderland yesterday in a real thriller. And they deserve to stay up, really, because Cole Clement has really proved me wrong. He's proved everybody wrong, really, because I, 2 or 3 weeks ago on Let's Talk Football, had written off Swansea City of getting out of it. I did honestly thought at the time that Hull had the advantage, and then obviously those 2 defeats, that defeat at Sunderland practically killed them, really, because this was going to put more pressure on. If they'd have beaten Sunderland, I think it would have gone to the final day. I really do. Burnley wouldn't have been safe now. So really, as much as we criticise Sunderland, I've sort of thanked them in a way, really, for that victory over Hull. But Burnley have stayed up. Will play next season in the Premier League. They've got 40 points. Their best return in the Premier League ever. This is their 3rd go at it and 3rd season in it, and they've done it this time. They've stayed more than 1 year at the top. Fantastic. And that's the first time it's ever happened since 1973-74, where they finished, I think, about 6th place. And that was a 42-game season, and it was 2 points for a win the last time they'd ever stayed up. Remarkable, really. And of course, Crystal Palace have stayed up. Swansea, as I say, have stayed up. Watford have stayed up, and although they've been on 40 points for umpteen weeks now, and they've sort of completely gone downhill and completely lost a lot of form. But what it does mean now, it's times are going to be hard for the 3 teams that have gone down. You feel for Sunderland because they're the team that are most vulnerable now. Their performance at home yesterday was completely, utterly shocking, and that is no lie, because I saw a 10-minute segment on Match of the Day yesterday, and Swansea were just all over them. They were, they wanted it a lot more. And the only decent thing about that day yesterday was all about Bradley Lowry, the Sunderland fan, the young Sunderland lad who's suffering from rare form of cancer. In fact, the cancer has got so bad now. He attended the game yesterday. He was just about well enough to attend yesterday, and it was a real shame. So, he's been remarkable. Jermaine Defoe has been sort of a friend for him, and let's hope Bradley does beat this, and he has his life belonged for many, many years to come, because he seems like a great little kid, and he's battled this illness terrifically well. And I have to say, so I, on this YouTube channel, would wish Bradley and his family all the best, and I hope he pulls through the cancer. But it was a great gesture from Sunderland to dedicate the front page of their match day programme yesterday to him, and having him all over the front page of the Sunderland match day programme yesterday. So that was probably the only positive to come out of the football club yesterday, on a day that Sunderland play their last game in the Premier League for probably at least a season. It may be more than that. I do think the team needs a bit of a major surgery, but I'm sure we'll talk more at length about that in LTF later this week. So Spurs, back to today. So it's Spurs who sign off with a win. They're now into second place. Can't be caught. Liverpool have played 37. Spurs have a game in hand over Liverpool. Although Manchester City will have something to say about that. Fifth place will go into Europa League, although Everton are there next season, of course. So Southampton and Bournemouth, two South Coast sides in the top half of the table. West Brom also there with 45 points. They have 2 games to put that one right. Let's hear from one of the heroes, Harry Kane, with Jess Reeves of Sky Sports.
Yeah, amazing. It was a delicious free kick. Was it just inviting a touch? Yeah, Christian just coming down. Christian just said to me before he took it, he said, get across the keeper, and he put in a perfect ball, and I just kind of got a foot out to it, and just to see it go in was special. Dele, you made it through the crowds. What was that atmosphere like?
Yeah, it was unbelievable. You know, the fans deserved it. We felt today we had to play for them and get the win. You know, all of us are happy with the club. It's been a great season, and you know, hopefully we can build on it from here. But I think it was an important win for the fans today.
Well, there we are. That was Dele Alli there as well. They're just about to get the ceremony commenced. The Spurs fans, I don't think, are going to leave for a long time, I'm sure yet. It's been a remarkable season for Spurs, guaranteed now to finish second for the first time since 1963, and Harry Kane and Dele Alli, the short time we had them there for an interview, they were superb, and I have to say, well done to Tottenham. They hung on in there. United made it difficult, of course, in the last 20 minutes or so, but in the end it was Spurs who came through and really did terrifically well. And that is it really from me today. I hope you very much enjoyed the live commentary of the game. A terrific performance from Tottenham in their final ever game at White Hart Lane. We'll be back hopefully with a midweek commentary for you. There's a few games taking place in midweek, so hopefully maybe a Wednesday or a Thursday night match will be on the agenda depending the kick-off time. If it's 7:45, we'll cover it for you, and then of course the Clarets match delayed will be here with us a week on Monday, covering that final game taking place a week today in fact, between Burnley and West Ham, and then in just under 2 weeks from now we'll have the FA Cup final for you from Wembley Stadium. We'll begin the countdown to the final at 5 o'clock. We'll take in Abide With Me, we'll take in the teams coming out, we'll take in the national anthems, we'll take in the whole shebang for you. 2 weeks from now, Arsenal v Chelsea, FA Cup final, 5:30 kick-off at Wembley Stadium in less than 2 weeks' time now. And then, of course, we'll have delayed commentary of the Champions League final a week after. And, of course, we'll have England versus Scotland in the Euros, and France versus England to finish off the commentaries on the channel this season. But thank you very much for enjoying this special match live, which has come for you for the final time from White Hart Lane, where Tottenham really gave their great old ground a terrific send-off, beating Manchester United by 2-1. I hope you very much enjoyed it. Join me and Matt Claret on his channel later next week, in 6 days' time, for one of the final editions of Let's Talk Football of the season, where we predict the final round of Premier League fixtures. But until then, take care. From me, JB, I hope you very much enjoyed this afternoon's special commentary match live. We only decided to go with this about half an hour before we went on air, so I decided to go with it, and because it's a special occasion and we haven't covered a live match for some time on a Sunday, I felt it was almost better. We needed to get into the nice spirit of things because we've got some big games coming up on the YouTube channel as well in the next 3 to 4 weeks. So thank you, as I say, for watching or for listening to the commentary. Spurs have rounded off their their final season at White Hart Lane in superb style. There's still 2 games to play away from home, of course, but what a way to end at White Hart Lane. The first ones will not leave the pitch for quite some time, I suspect. But it's Spurs' day. They've beaten Manchester United by 2-1 and give White Hart Lane the send-off that it truly deserves. I hope you very much enjoyed the commentary, and we'll see you hopefully during the week very soon. Just before I go, West Ham were beaten 4-0 by Liverpool. They go up to 3rd, and of course earlier today Crystal Palace relegated Hull City, and Palace have stayed up as well into the bargain, and also it mathematically assures Burnley, Watford and Swansea as well Premier League football next season. More so for the Clarets, who have lasted more than 1 season in the top flight for the first time since 1973-74, and what an achievement that is. But thank you very much for listening. We'll see you later on this week, and of course I will certainly see you on Matt Claret's channel for the latest edition of LTF, which will be on his channel on Saturday morning. But until then, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll see you very soon. From me, JB, take care, and we'll see you soon with the news that Spurs have rounded off their final game at White Hart Lane with a fantastic 2-1 victory, which guarantees them Champions League football next season. Not a bad way to finish off at White Hart Lane. From me, JB, take care, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye bye.